The 2008 ARCA Series finale was set to be an amazing one, with 4 drivers having a shot at the championship. But instead, it would go a totally different way. This is the craziest ARCA Series finale. Guys, if you're suffering from hair loss or worried about your hair, then look no further because Bosley has you covered. The sooner you take action, the more options you'll have for keeping and restoring your hair. Bosley has both surgical and non-surgical solutions to not only keep the hair you have, but also grow it thicker. Right now, Bosley is giving away a free information kit and $250 gift card towards a procedure. Trust me, you don't want to wait. Just get the information and learn what you can be doing right now to keep or grow your hair. There is a reason millions of men and women have come to Bosley for the answers to their hair loss and hair restoration questions. People trust Bosley. They are truly the leaders in hair restoration. At the conclusion of this video, head on over to bosley.com/BFM and get your free information kit and $250 Bosley gift card. Again, that's bosley.com/BFM, and you can get a free cost estimate and find the right solution for you. Once again, a huge thanks to the fine folks over at Bosley and you for supporting this channel. Scott Speed entered the 2008 ARCA Series finale as the championship leader. He put together an impressive season, scoring 3 poles along with 4 wins. While he was the most consistent all season up to this point, not too far behind him was another young prospect, that being Roush Racing's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He also scored 3 poles but only had 2 wins up to this point. Both drivers' average finishes were 9.8 and 9.9, which explains why they were ahead of the 3rd driver on this list, Justin Allgaier. Before he was tapped to drive for Roger Penske, he was driving for his own father's team, scoring 1 pole and the most wins all season, that being 5. However, due to some inconsistency, he was sitting 3rd in the standings, and of course in 4th was the ARCA god himself, Frank Kimmel, with his 3 wins. The previous race at Talladega set the top 2 contenders back a little bit. Both Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Scott Speed ran into some problems. This left the door open for Justin Allgaier to make up some much needed ground in the championship, scoring his 5th win of the season. Entering the 2008 season finale, Scott Speed had a 90-point lead over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. However, despite the victory, Justin Allgaier still was over 100 points behind, as well as Frank Kimmel. All Scott Speed needs to do is simply stay out of trouble, but that's easier said than done. The stage was set for an epic ARCA Series finale on October 12th, 2008.
The fans are on their feet. The green flag is in the air. We're underway from Toledo Speedway.
Right from the get-go, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is well aware that in order for him to win the championship, not only does he need to have a spectacular finish, but Scott Speed must run into some problems. After the race's first caution of the day came out on lap 7, Stenhouse decided early on it was time to up the aggression level.
Second in the points is running 3rd on the racetrack. That's Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
You know, I wonder if they're going to be team motors because Ricky Stenhouse gets to the inside of Scott Speed. Oh, contact.
Bumping, and the caution has come out again. We've got a problem in turn number 2.
While the championship battle was intensifying up front, the top 2 leaders in Justin Lofton and Dexter Bean got together. But once the green flag came back out, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. again got aggressive. The runner-up guy in points is literally bumper hooking the points leader. It's way too early to be that aggressive in the race, but in typical ARCA fashion, it would all come to a head on lap 27.
They are so concerned about how aggressive Stenhouse is behind him. Speed has actually talked on the radio about letting the 99 go around, and they make contact. Speed into the wall.
Speed into the wall hard, and that happened because Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was into the back of him. Let's see if he's able to continue on. A lot of damage to the right side of this race car. He needs to make his way onto pit road.
Unbelievable. A season's worth of work to try and win a championship was in the end all for naught. Scott Speed got bumper hooked entering turn 3 for the 3rd time in less than 30 laps, but for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 3rd time was a charm. Speed was able to get back on track in a hurry, but this pretty much ended his championship hopes. The damage he sustained made it pretty much impossible for him to try and get all that track position back to try try and get a good finish. The car is damn near killed at this point, but Scott Speed wasn't having any of it. If he wasn't going to win the title, he damn well was going to make sure that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wasn't going to either.
There's your leaders. They're putting him another lap down.
Oh, a little contact right there, a little.
Oh, problem. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. around. And, oh, by the way, that was the 2.
Yeah, well, there was no question there. That was a little bit of payback. A little bit of payback.
That wreck looks awfully familiar. Before we heard Kenseth takes him out, we heard Speed takes him out. Not even a quarter into the race, the top 2 drivers entering the championship finale are out of the running entirely.
He was on my bumper and he pushed me flat out until I hit the wall. And then the car was completely undrivable. It wasn't even close. It was so bad from hitting the wall. Couldn't do anything with it.
Talk about the retaliation here as we watch the replay.
Hey, he started it. He ain't gonna win this championship with that attitude. I mean, that was ridiculous. That was the most blatant thing I ever saw in my life. And honestly, I mean, it's just ARCA. It's how it is.
It's just ARCA. That's how it is. Somebody needs to put that quote on a t-shirt. Anyways, Scott Speed was now out of the race entirely, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would later rejoin the race, but unfortunately was out of the championship running. This left both Justin Allgaier and Frank Kimmel left to duke it out for the title. It wasn't a good look for ARCA to have Speed and Stenhouse Jr. crash each other like that, but at the very least, Allgaier and Frank Kimmel salvaged what was left of the championship battle, racing each other with pure class. But of course, this is ARCA, so they had to avoid the chaos around them.
We will take a look at what just took place to bring out our 7th caution. A little help. Terry had into the wall. They're rounding out that top line. Those problems. Almost up into the wall to 77, and then big problems coming off of turn 4.
With nearly 50 laps to go, they had to maneuver past lap traffic. Frank Kimmel dumping the 00 out of the way, causing another caution, would end up with a flat right front tire. This meant all of that track position was lost, but he was still in the race. In the closing laps, he was able to maneuver his way back inside the top 5. But Allgaier's car was just a little bit better than his throughout the day. In the end, this pass on Matt Carter would be the championship clinching move.
1 lap to go on the 2008 season.
Justin's got 3 or 4 car lengths right now over Matt Carter. We just need for this race to stay green for Justin.
Justin Allgaier working his way through 3 and 4. Here he comes out of 4. Your 2008 champion, Allgaier, will win the race, his 6th of the season.
The 6th win of the season meant that Justin Allgaier had clinched the 2008 ARCA Series title. Might I add, with a very impressive championship-style burnout. The final points tally had Justin Allgaier ahead of ARCA god Frank Kimmel by just 50 points, while Scott Speed and Stenhouse Jr. salvaged both 3rd and 5th place finishes. In the end, consistency is key. Allgaier won the final 3 races of the season, while Scott Speed and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. decided to play Demolition Derby rather than fighting for a championship. 2 of the top championship contenders taking each other out less than a quarter of the way into the race makes this the craziest season finale in ARCA Series history. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.